Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. If you're new here, this is Constellation Library. If you've been here for a while, you can see that I have a new background for this video. Just wanted to give a little love to the Christmas tree, kind of get some of that holiday ambiance since we are very close to Christmas. As of filming this video, it is the 19th of December. So in a week we will be past Christmas, and honestly I'll be really sad about that because I feel like the season has already flown by. I'm not sure if anyone else feels that way, but this is my favorite time of the year and I just have had not as much fun as I would like to have had because I'm also in school. But that's a conversation for another day. The reason why we are here is that I wanted to, one, film while I had my face on. Got pictures done today. So still have some remnants of my makeup, wanted to take advantage of that, but also because I really wanted to share with you guys the 22 books from my physical TBR, or that I know will be on my physical TBR before the end of the year from Christmas gifts and whatnot, that I plan to read in 2022. So 22 books. It's the year of adult fantasy. It is the year of Brandon Sanderson. So just so you kind of have something to expect as I go through this list. I also have this wonderful cat who is going to probably be all up in my business while I'm doing this because he thinks he's a gift and he goes under the Christmas tree. I'm sure he's headed back there now to lay in his spot. But anyway, that was Moriarty. We call him Maury or Morris. Anyway, so I do want to say that a lot of these books came as recommendations from other booktubers and are just evidence of the fact that I'm easily influenced and have no self-control. Bro, please go. I love you, but go. Anyway, without further ado, let us start. So the first book for 2022 that I would like to read is The Assassins Apprentice by Robin Hobb. So this book was a Becca and the Books recommendation. She has read like pretty much everything Robin Hobb, or a very large portion of Robin Hobb's books. I know that the overarching world has many trilogies and different series all combined, and I know that there's a word for it. There's a name of this world, but it escapes me. I'll try to remember to put it in here somewhere in the bottom. But this particular book is book one of the Farseer trilogy, and I have heard it's very emotionally gut-wrenching. It's kind of depressing. I don't think it has like necessarily a super happy ending, which is okay. I don't need that. But look at this cover. This is a beautiful cover. This is the UK edition, of course. I have said that I feel like UK covers are almost always better than American covers. Sorry, Uncle Sam, but it's the truth. So I love this. If I love this cover, or if I love this book, I'm going to get the rest of them in paperback in this cover from the UK. So I don't know much about this other than it is about an assassin's apprentice. So I believe that this story follows a character named Fitz, and it is about the Kingdom of the Six Duchies being on the brink of civil war, and news breaks that the crown prince is fathered a bastard son and is shamed into abdication, and the child's name is Fitz, and he is despised. He's raised in the castle stables. Only the company of the king's fool, the ragged children of the lower city, and his unusual affinity with animals provide Fitz with any comfort, so not a very auspicious start. To be useful to the crown, Fitz is trained as an assassin and to use the traditional magic of the Farseer family, but his tutor, allied to another political faction, is determined to discredit, even kill him. Fitz must survive, for he may be destined to save the kingdom. So that's just basically the synopsis. That's all I know about this, and that it's depressing. So book number one. Book number two, I have heard of this book from a couple different people. I know that Jade from Jaded Reader absolutely adores this. She's actually not Jaded Reader anymore. She's Jade Juniper now that she has moved to Japan, and she is doing lots of different content. Besides just booktube content, she's also doing like lifestyle, Japanese lifestyle sort of things as a person that is in something called the JET program, and she has moved over there to teach. If you're interested in learning anything about that, and I find it wildly interesting, I'll either link her in the cards, but I'll definitely put her channel in the description box for you. Anyway, it was from her and from Aaron at Booked and Busy that I got the recommendation for Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I know that this is an author of color, which is amazing to me, especially since it seems like I know that there are authors of color that write high fantasy, but they just don't always seem to get the kind of traction in terms of advertising that the white popular authors seem to get. Popular authors. And I want to read more fantasy work by authors of color. So it's pretty exciting. I've heard this is fantastic. It's dragons, but that's really all I know about it. I have listened to both Jada and Aaron talk at length about how much they love this book, this series. So I plan to read this one and then the second one, which I don't have. And I believe it's called Fires of Vengeance, maybe. I'll put it up here so that you can see, because I might have that title wrong. But I expect to get that for Christmas, or I'll be getting it with Christmas money. And so I'll be reading those two in addition. So those are book 2 and then book 3 of the 22. The next one is called The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. And this, I have heard, is similar to The Wheel of Time. It's just that great adventure, quest type story. I feel like there's probably a lot of traveling in it, you know, your usual high fantasy sort of thing. I'll read the back of it to you since, again, I know nothing other than what's on the back. It says, as destiny calls, a journey begins. It has been 20 years since the godlike augurs were overthrown and killed. Those who once served them, the gifted, were spared only after accepting the rebellion's 4 tenets, which vastly limited their powers. Davian suffers the consequences of a war lost before he was even born. When he discovers that he wields the forbidden power of the augurs, he sets into motion a chain of events that will change everything. To the west, a young man whose fate is intertwined with Davian's wakes up in a forest covered in blood and with no memory of who he is. And in the far north, an ancient enemy begins to stir. So that's this one. This is number 4, The Shadow of What Was Lost. I have this whole series, but I'm just sticking to reading the first one, seeing how I feel about it, and if I want to continue it. If I don't, that'll be a lesson to not buy an entire series before I've even read the first one, which is a lesson I probably need to learn anyway, but hopefully I do like it and I didn't waste my money. So there's that one. So this one was book number 4. So the next 2 are by the same author, so book 5 and 6. The first one is Malice by John Gwynne, and this one is a recommendation from Erin at Booked and Busy. She really loves this series. I have the 2 next books in the series, but I believe that there are at least 4 in this series, if not more. And this is just like sword and sorcery type fantasy as far as I'm aware. Lots of battles, lots of war. So again, I'll read the back of it for you. The world is broken. Corbin wants nothing more than to be a warrior under King Brennan's rule to protect and serve, but that day will come all too soon, and the price he pays will be in blood. Evnus has sacrificed, too much it seems, but what he wants, the power to rule, will soon be in his grasp, and nothing will stop him once he has started on his path. Veridus is the newest member of the warband for the High Prince Nethair. He is one of the most skilled swordsmen to come out of his homeland, yet he is always under the shadow of his older brother. Nethair has ideas and a lot of plans. Many of them don't involve his father, the High King Aquilus, nor does he agree with his father's idea to summon his fellow kings to council. The Banished Lands has a violent past where armies of men and giants clashed in battle, but now giants stir anew, stones weep blood, and there are sightings of giant worms. Those who can still read the signs see a threat far greater than the ancient wars, for if the Black Sun gains ascendancy, mankind's hopes and dreams will fall to dust, and it can never be made whole again. So there don't seem to be a lot of ladies in this book. I'll be interested to see how women are represented in it, since there are no female main characters according to the back of it. But based on Erin's recommendation, how much she loves it, she says that it's just got really good fight scenes. She just raves about it. She loves it so much. So I'm taking her word for it, and I'm going to give it a try. And then we'll see what happens. So book 6, and by the same author in a different series, is The Shadow of the Gods. So this is based on Norse mythology. I know that much. And I am a huge fan of Norse mythology. I always have been. I enjoy the stories immensely. I don't know much about this, but the back of it says, when the gods fought, it was a battle so savage they destroyed themselves, leaving nothing but their bones in the broken land of Vigrid in their wake. Now, as whispers of war echo over the fjords and across the plains, fate follows in the footsteps of 3 warriors, a huntress on a perilous quest, a noble woman pursuing battle fame, and a thrall seeking retribution among the mercenaries known as the Bloodsworn. All 3 will change the course of the world as it once more falls under the shadow of the gods. So he made up for his lack of ladies in Malice with 2 of the 3 being ladies in this one. So we'll see about that. That sounds interesting. The second book in this series is coming out in 2022. I would love to get this one read in time to read the second one, so that this can be one of those series that I'm actually caught up on, since this one just came out this year, I think. So pretty stoked. Hope I like it. Love Viking stuff. So we'll see if it lives up to the hype I've built in my head. I believe that was another Aaron one. I don't know if I said that. So next we have, let's see, what number were we on? Was that 6? Yes. So 7, 8, and 9 are all Brandon Sanderson. So I have read Way of Kings. I plan to start Words of Radiance, which is book 7 for my 22 books. I know even if I start this month, there's no way I'm finishing it before the new year. So I want to finish this one in 2022. Hopefully I at least get to start it. And then book 8 is Oathbringer. And then book 9 is Rhythm of War, which I don't have yet, but again, Christmas, I'm expecting to get it. And that will be very exciting for me because I really loved Way of Kings. Like, I can't say enough good things about it. There was a point where I thought like 700 pages in the middle could have probably been cut, but now the more I've had some distance from it and thought about it, there was so much important information there that I'm sure if it didn't resolve itself in Way of Kings is going to show up and be important in the following books. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how everything connects, but that is 7, 8, and then 9 being Rhythm of War. Again, because of the fact that these are sequels, I'm not even going to go into an explanation of Way of Kings. I'm not good at explaining it anyway. So that does it for the adult fantasy. I have 2 adult science fiction titles, both of which are pretty high on my priority list for 2022. Like, I'm very interested in reading them. However, one of them probably won't get to it until like September, because my in-person book club, every member can choose what book that they want for their month. And I'm fairly certain if we don't get to it before then, my husband is going to pick this for September, which is his month. But that is book number 10. Yes, book number 10. And that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I've heard nothing but good things about this. Literally nothing but good things. I don't think I've heard one negative review from anyone I know. And very few seem to even pop up on Goodreads. I'm sure there are some, but like it's got like 4.5 or something. It's ridiculous. He wrote The Martian, which I did not read. I have seen the film. And he also wrote Artemis, I think, which wasn't as well received. But I know very little about this, and I want to keep it that way. I want to be surprised. I'm not sure if it's a first contact story or if it is like a surviving in space situation. It looks like it based on this, but it just sounds very intriguing. And I've heard it's also funny. It has some humor, which I always enjoy good humor, to kind of break up the tension and the seriousness of whatever I might be reading at the time. So yeah, this is book number 10. Pretty stoked about it. And the next book is book 11, which is Dune by Frank Herbert. The beautiful like aqua teal sprayed edges. I watched the film. I didn't realize until I got in there that it was only part of the book. It's like part 1. And that was surprising because I don't feel like it was really advertised to be that way in any of the previews or anything that I watched. So that was a little bit shocking, but I still really enjoyed it. And I kind of like that I saw the movie first before I read this, because now I kind of have an idea in my head of the world, and it will be a little bit easier for me to kind of grasp what I'm reading, because I think I tried to read this. I'm sorry, I have something in my eye. Ugh. Sorry about that. I wear makeup never. This is the first time I've had this much makeup on my face since my son was born, and he is going on 14 months old. So sorry about my struggling over here. But anyway, when I first tried to read this book, I think it just kind of confused me, and I really wasn't a person who read very much sci-fi. I still am not. So having been able to see the world visually, I think will help me understand a lot more what's going on in the book itself. So if you don't know anything about Dune, the only thing that I can really say is that it is a sci-fi story based in outer space, different planets. Arrakis, I believe, is the planet that is basically a desert, and people go there to mine spice, which is a very important tradable good. I believe it allows space travel or whatever, if I'm remembering the movie correctly, which I might not be. But there's always colonizers on Arrakis, and then there's the indigenous peoples who live there, the natives, or whatever the term is that they use for them, that live there peacefully with the giant sandworms, and the people who inhabit it and colonize it and mine the spice are having to deal with fighting each other for it, and then the natives have to try to protect their way of life, and the sandworms are eating people and eating whole machines because they're gigantic, and I feel like I'm not explaining this well at all, but yeah, there's that. I am excited, and my husband's read it too, so I'm sure he'll be happy for me to have read it so that he could talk to me about it. I think that was book 11. I'm not good at keeping track. My brain, my ADHD brain, does not keep track. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, that was 11. All right, so that is the end of the adult fantasy and sci-fi choices. Actually, no, I lied to you. There are 2 more. And again, these ones are on their way to me. I actually was very lucky to score a set of the UK hardcovers of this series. I paid a pretty penny for them, but it was the cheapest amount that I have ever seen them listed. And I'm not going to go into how much it was because it's kind of shameful how much I spent, but I couldn't stop thinking about them. And the series is the Daevabad trilogy. So I have just this copy of The City of Brass right now, which I have finished. And I will be talking about in the end of the month wrap up. But I also am waiting on Kingdom of Copper and The Empire of Gold. So those 2 books I think are 12 and 13 of my 22 books in 2022. I thoroughly enjoyed City of Brass, and my husband has finished the series and swears up and down that I'm gonna love it. So those books are on their way to me, and they are also pretty high on my priority list for the new year. I don't know anything about what happens in the next books, but I'm super looking forward to getting those. So those are going to be books 12 and 13 in my list, and they're the last ones of the adult fantasy and science fiction. Sorry about that. I kept this one over here to remind me that I needed to mention those, and I almost forgot, which is not surprising. So next I have 2 graphic novels. So book 14 is Monstrous by Marjorie Liu, and this is volume 6 in the Monstrous series. I'm not going to even try to describe this to you. All I can say is you should probably pick up the first volume either at the library or at your local bookstore. Give it a try, see how you feel. It's a very immersive world. The art is gorgeous. The story is incredibly intriguing. And the heroine is very morally gray, which I enjoy. And she's also possessed by a demon for the majority of it, which is interesting, and has to like share her body with this demon creature. And I am very interested to see where the story goes and how it gets wrapped up. I'm not sure if this is the last one, if there are supposed to be more or not. It doesn't say that it's the last one, but you never know. So yeah, volume 6, The Vow, is number 14. Number 15 is Lore Olympus by Rachel Smith. I'm pretty sure I read this back when it was a webtoon, but I loved it so much that I wanted to go ahead and get it. When I heard that it was going to be published into a graphic novel, I was like, I have to have it. I have to. So I know that the second volume of this is coming out in 2022, so I want to brush up and try to remember the story. I know it for the most part, but it has been several years since I read the webtoon, and I want to refresh my memory. So if you don't know, this is a Hades and Persephone retelling, romantic retelling, and the art is just gorgeous. The story is gorgeous. It has a lot of emotion. There's a lot of trigger warnings for this, so make sure you look up a list for that. But otherwise, it's very entertaining, and I am quite pleased that she was able to get traditionally published. I believe it's by Del Rey. So I'm very excited for this author, and I believe too that the story is still up on webtoons. I don't think you have to strictly get it here. I think it's still going to stay up. I think she continues to own the rights to post it because that's where it originally was posted. So check it out for sure. It's very good. All right, so book 16 is my only middle grade book. There are other middle grades I would like to read. but this is one that I have that I am very intrigued by and have heard great things from Alexandra Roslin about, and that is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. I know nothing about this other than there's like 10 plus books in the series. Part of me hopes I like it, part of me hopes that I don't, which I know sounds terrible. I'm not sure I need to get invested in a 10 plus book series, but she said she flew through it and enjoyed it, so I'm definitely going to give it a chance. I believe that the main character, her name is Sophie Foster. She's 12 and she's a telepath, and she basically has had this unique ability to read the thoughts around her, and she's never really been able to explain it, and it's kind of made her an outcast even in her family. But then she meets Fitz, who is a boy that can also read minds, and she discovers that there's somewhere that she does belong, but it will put her in grave danger to stay there. So she's forced to leave everything behind and start a new life in a place that's vastly different from her own. There are new rules and skills to learn, and not everyone is thrilled with her homecoming. There are secrets buried deep in Sophie's memory, secrets that other people desperately want and that they would even kill for. So that sounds very intriguing. I'm very excited. So yes, this was book number 16 and the only middle grade book on this list. And the next set, there are 6 books. Yes, so 16 plus 6, 22. 3 of them are by Brandon Sanderson, so we'll go ahead and I'll put those up. So 17, 18, and 19. So this is the Skyward series by the old Brando Sando. This is his YA science fiction series, and this last book published this year. I believe that there is at least a 4th one called Defiant that is going to be coming out, but I, again, want to read this because my husband has finished the series and I would like us to chat about it, but also I started it and I want to finish it. I was interested in it, got distracted, not really sure what happened, navigated away, didn't come back to it. So it is my goal to get through the entirety of the books that are out and available, because I don't think that the next one's coming out until 2023. So if I can get through them, then I'll be ready for that one when it does come out. And they just seem really interesting. I like the idea of the main character Spensa wanting to be a pilot but being disgraced by her father's lineage as a coward who fled from a fight, and how that impacts her ability to do what she dreams to do, and how important she is in the overarching story and what she is going to be chosen to do, because I believe this kind of follows like the chosen one sort of story, which I really enjoy. I know some people get tired of, but I am feeling like that is probably the overarching premise of this series. So this is 17, 18, and 19. Next is book 20, which is the Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've been hearing mixed reviews about the first book in this series, which I personally had a lot of fun reading. Was it the best thing I ever read? No. Was it overly original? No, but it was fun and it was quick. I flew through it and it kind of gave me some of the vibes that I got the first time I read like Twilight with the love triangle thing that's definitely happening in it. And I've heard that this one's even better. So I am hopeful that I like it. If not just as much as the first one, I like it more. And it's not very long. So I'd like to get through this one because the final book in the series, The Final Gambit, is coming out, and it is on my most anticipated list as well for 2022. But I'll talk more about my most anticipated reads in a later video. So this is book 20. Book 21 is Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Iyamide, which is probably not correct pronunciation, and for that I apologize. But this book has been getting rave reviews from pretty much everywhere. I believe it has kind of the dark academia vibes, and the main characters are Black, which is awesome. I am just super interested in the story. I think that it sounds amazing, and I am super hopeful that I will get to this quickly and be able to learn about all the intrigue and the debauchery that I have been told happens in this story. So this was book 21. Book number 22, and the final one on my list, is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. So, Lord, it's been a couple years since I read Strange the Dreamer, and I really enjoyed it, and I was so floored by the ending. And I think that's part of why I haven't picked this one up, because I'm just like not ready to get my heart broken, and I don't know if it's gonna hurt me real good or real bad. I'm not sure, but I'm ready to read it. This is the lovely UK edition with the sprayed edges. I believe, I'm trying to think of where I got this. I don't even remember where this one came from. I don't remember, but I loved Strange the Dreamer. I've always loved Laini Taylor's writing. I have read her other series, Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I read the first one in that series. That's another series I need to finish, but I really loved the way that she wrote that series, and I really love the way that she wrote Strange the Dreamer. So I think that I'm also gonna love this one. I don't know why I haven't been in the headspace for it, but 2022 is gonna be my year, and I'm gonna finish it and then be done with that duology so that I can move on and I gaze at them lovingly on my shelf and not feel like the guilt at having not finished it yet. So that is the 22nd book in my 22 books in 2022 list. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed yourself. If you made it this far, please put the book stack emoji in the comments. Let me know what books you plan to read for 2022. Are any of them things that I have listed here today? If so, let me know so that we can kind of commiserate. Maybe we can buddy read some things. I love buddy reading. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If I don't see you guys again until after Christmas, I hope you have a wonderful holiday if you celebrate, or any other holidays that you might be celebrating right now if you don't celebrate Christmas. And until next time, love you all. Bye.